All right, let's get into this because last week a fintech CEO went on stage at a conference and defended firing the entire HR team. He said that, ironically, the problems disappeared the day that they left. He is not the only CEO who has thought it, though. He's just the one who said it out loud. If you're a CHRO doing the same job that you did 5 years ago, then your seat may be on the line unless you adopt all of these 5 mindsets. Welcome to the channel. I am Trent Cotton, the human capitalist. I've noticed that there's a big difference between HR business practices and how business actually gets done. I've spent over 20 years in HR helping the C-suite rebuild their organization while the world around them shifted. I've designed this channel to be an intelligence briefing on the business of people. So, if you're a CEO, board member, or a CHRO looking for the signal in the noise, welcome to the channel. Now, let's get to work. All right, so let's set up the episode. I think that the traditional CHRO is becoming obsolete, the one that's obsessed with policies, benefits, and the operational side of HR. The one who likes to chase compliance, and they call it strategy. That role is on a 5-year clock, and that clock is getting shorter every quarter. The CHRO who survives in the age of AI is something completely different. They operate within 5 mindsets, not 5 policies. Those are the architect, the engineer, the scientist, the COO, and the coach. And that is what this entire miniseries is all about. But first, let's talk about the warning shot, because while we're debating whether HR needs to evolve, CEOs are already deciding for us. So being the AI enthusiast, I've built several agents that kind of go out and look at what's going on in the marketplace and bring me back articles. And whenever I saw this one, I knew it was going to be something big. And it was confirmed later. Within probably an hour, I had 5 text messages asking me, have you seen this? So let's hear exactly what the CEO said.
We got rid of our HR team.
Why?
We had an HR team, right? And that HR team was creating problems that didn't exist. And those problems disappeared when I let them go.
Why? Why did you get rid of your HR
We
team?
replaced it with a couple-person people ops team,
Huh.
which was meant to just streamline people operations.
Okay.
I can't say that I would advise the same in a large company, but we're back in startup mode again. Those HR professionals have really important insights
Yeah.
when you're in peacetime and when you're at a larger company. But we're a remote company. It's not like a lot of the potential issues that you would have in a workplace don't really exist because you're not in the same room as somebody.
All right, that is Ryan Breslow. He is the CEO of Bolt. He said that last Tuesday at Fortune's Work Innovation Summit in a room full of leaders, including HR. Now, for some context, Bolt is a one-click checkout company. Now, in 2022, it hit an $11 billion valuation. But 2 years later, that valuation was reported down to about $300 million, and that's a 97% decline. Now, Breslow stepped away in 2022, but came back as CEO in 2025. And he returned and enacted what he called the mode of wartime. He cut roughly 30% of the workforce, he fired most of the executive team, and then he eliminated the entire HR department. Now, he explained why, and here's the part that matters. We need a group of people who are very oriented around getting things done, and there's just a culture of not getting things done and complaining a lot. That's what Breslow said, describing HR and the culture that he came back to. Now, he also made a more nuanced point, and this part is worth listening to. We are back in startup mode again, and those HR professionals have really important insights when you're in peacetime and when you're at a larger company. So he's saying that HR has value, just not the value that he needs at the moment. HR in his mind is for peacetime. He is in wartime mode. So that's why he cut them. So it wasn't impulsive. I saw a lot of comments of, people going, oh, this is a very impulsive mood. Let's also look at another trend, because back in April, he sent a company-wide Slack message that read this: developing products and operating in 2026 is very different than it was in the prior years. And we need to adapt as an organization to be leaner and more AI-centric than ever to keep up with the competition. Leaner, more AI-centric, that's the operating premise. The HR cut was just the consequence. And then he posted this on LinkedIn. HR is the wrong energy, format, and approach. People ops empowers managers, streamlines decision making, and keeps the company moving at lightning speed. Now, there are some easy responses to all of this. This is your typical founder hubris. This is anti worker. It's reckless. You can pick your flavor or go read the comments on any of the articles that posted about this story, and you'll see the same. But I want to make a harder point. Breslow correctly diagnosed something most HR leaders refuse to admit. Now, we're going to get to that later in the video, but first, zoom out because Breslow is not the story, he is the symptom. Now, I want you to remember something that Breslow said in the April Slack message: more AI centric than ever. That's not an HR strategy, that is an operating strategy, and it landed in the company through Slack, not through HR, and that's the bigger story. Now, while we're debating whether HR needs to evolve, AI is already reading Slack messages. CEOs are using language models to decide how their workforce feels about decisions. Tech is beginning to fill the role of the traditional CHRO by default. So is the CEO, and HR is no longer in the room. Now, you know me, I've got data. So there is a company called Aware, based in Ohio, founded in 2017. They built an AI that reads employee messages across Slack, Teams, Zooms, and any other channel where team conversations happen. In 2023, their platform analyzed 6.5 billion employee messages. The client list is not small either. Think Walmart, Delta, T Mobile, Chevron, Nestle, all of those huge companies. The AI flags harassment, threats, insider trading risk. Officially, the data is anonymized, but officially, the company cannot tell an employer that Jane in marketing is said something very specifically officially. So, why does this matter to HR? Well, the CEO of Salesforce said publicly that he uses AI to read employee Slack conversations to figure out what people are complaining about. Now, Salesforce clarified that he was referring to a very specific channel called airing of grievances. Fine. But notice who made that decision. Notice who is using it, and notice who is not named. It is the CEO, sometimes the CIO, sometimes the chief data officer. But where in the hell is the CHRO? All right, okay, let's get back to Bolt and Breslow. I said that he diagnosed something that most HR leaders refuse to admit. So here it is. Traditional HR is becoming less valuable by the day. If you have sat in the CHRO seat for the last decade, you know the line. We need a seat at the table. I've said it, you've said it. Every damn HR conference over the last 10 years has said it. But here's the thing that I learned about that mindset whenever I was in the seat: people who actually have a seat at the table never have to ask for one. When a function spends more time managing the optics of work rather than producing outcomes, the CEO eventually just stops paying for it. And look, that's not anti-HR. That's how a P&L works. So Breslow's diagnosis is right. Traditional HR is becoming obsolete, but his cure was wrong. People ops, at least the way that he described it, is just admin with a new logo. He kept the smaller team to run things like training and serve as a resource, but there's a problem. What he's missing is the work that actually connects people decisions to business outcomes. And look, you can't replace strategy with just vibes, and you can't run a company on people ops alone. Now, I've been in HR long enough to know that whenever a CEO says to you, HR is the wrong energy, you probably are to look at how the company treats its workforce. And there's plenty of data out there about Bolt. I'll let you go research it. That's the data. It's not a speech. But hey, Breslow won the news cycle. Whether he wins the company is a completely different question. So traditional HR is becoming irrelevant. What's going to replace it? Well, I don't know about replacing it, but it will need to evolve, leveraging the 5 mindsets we've been discussing in this mini-series: the architect, the engineer, the COO, the coach, and the scientist. Each of them working together allows the CHRO and anyone in HR to really drive enterprise value in the HR function. If you find a way to leverage all 5 of these operating mindsets, you are the CHRO that every CEO in 2026 wants in the room. If you hold none of them, you may be the CHRO and the HR team that Ryan Breslow just fired. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of flack for this episode, but if the episode hit, do me two things. One, drop a comment. Tell me which of those 5 mindsets is the hardest for you in your seat right now. All right, number 2, the next episode, I'm going to get into the COO mindset. Now, don't forget to go back and watch the other videos in this series. And to make it easy, I will drop a link to the playlist in the details and also put it as a link at the end of the video. And if you know a CHRO who is still bringing engagement scores to a board meeting, send this to them, but do it gently. I'm Trent Cotton, your human capitalist. Remember to invest in yourself because no one's going to do it quite like you do.